Or Awaken Agumon, defeat Belphemon.
Belphemon? Isn't that a kind of fruit?
A bell pepper is a kind of pepper.
Oh, I guess you could say it's a pepper. That would make sense. And we also watched The Power of the Burst Mode.
Or Bust Mode, the Power Exceeds Ultimate.
Ultimate? That's also a fruit.
Ultimata.
Ultimata. For DigiNews this week, we'll not cover DigiNews because I'm actually going to be on the With the World podcast again on Saturday morning or Sunday morning or Saturday during the day.
And you'll do DigiNews then?
So that's what we do on the With the World podcast. We just go over the news for those 2 weeks.
Sweet.
So every so often we don't have to do any DigiNews because I'll be covering it on With the Will.
This is the best.
And I'll have more than 2 hours sleep next time, so I'll actually contribute to conversation instead of just occasionally going, yeah, haha, you don't say. On to Obnoxious Synopsis. The first episode that we're watching this week is called The Battle with Belphemon, or Awaken Agumon, Defeat Belphemon. What do you think will happen in this episode?
Well, I guess Agumon didn't take a full year to hatch, did he?
Or didn't never hatch. That was also a possibility.
Didn't never hatch.
Did never hatch?
I thought you were looking at me like all scans, like, oh, did he never hatch? Like, yeah, that was a possibility, especially given the name of the episode.
Yeah, Awaken, but he's dead now.
Sure. And then
he's a new Leomon.
He does a fight, and I bet it's because, like, Masaru realizes what's really important in his life, and the power of love and human emotions, and he feels emotions the best, though, doesn't he, this Masaru boy?
Honestly, this is the only season of Digimon which can actually do justice to the emotions, though, because it's a series that focuses on human emotions and how Digimon respond to them, so I'm fine with them actually pulling the power of love and the power of, family or feelings or whatever, because it's actually relevant to the plot.
Hey, quick question for you. Is it character development when someone goes from being reserved to being angry, or is it character development when someone goes from being really angry and fighty to being really angry and fighty, but for different reasons?
I think the different reasons is an important part, but I think we've already spoken about that to death now.
No, that just means that he's being presented with new challenges. It doesn't mean he's changed at all. You were wrong.
No, I think it's his emotions. Look, I can be extremely passionate in a negative way, but I can also be extremely passionate in a positive way.
He was always passionate in a positive way. He never changed. He was a happy, nice boy from the beginning.
Who wanted to punch people.
Exactly. And now he has a government-sanctioned reason to do it.
Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
I can't even tell what's going to happen in the episode. Probably Masaru's going to yell at an egg, and then it'll hatch, and he'll be like, "It's a miracle! I can't believe it!"
I know a way you can make an egg hatch. By punching it. Could you imagine, though? Masaru's just like, well, I'm sick of waiting. I'm just going to punch this egg.
I'll break the egg open myself, and I'm sure that'll be fine.
That just, to be fair, it does seem like something that he would do, right? And at worst case scenario, he will make fried eggs.
Yeah. Mom, I broke it. Can you dispose of it?
And they eat Agumon. That's disgusting.
Oh, it's delicious. It's how he would want to go.
It is how he would want to go, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
He loves those fried eggs, especially Sayuri's. Do you think it'll be a good episode?
Yeah,
At
sure.
All? Yes,
okay.
Good.
It's a 6, though. It's not a good.
No, that is not good. A 6 is
good
not
enough.
Good.
It's acceptable.
I think a 7 or an 8 is good.
Yeah, that's true. It's more good than bad.
Look, I go on the Net Promoter Score level things, like
the what? Sorry,
Net Promoter Score. It's something in market research.
What's a Net Promoter?
Okay, so in surveys, usually you're given an 11-point scale, and it's 0 to 10.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it's 11 in the regards that 0 is a number.
Sure, dude.
And I believe, and I could be wrong here, I think that 8, 9, and 10 are considered green. Maybe 7 and 8 are yellow, and everything else is red. Like below it is red, and everything above it is green, I think.
Okay. So I'm sure there was tons of context for what you said, and I'm sure it was really interesting in your industry.
Yes.
But not on the radio.
As I said, I'm not a market research person, so I only know
Neither am I, and neither is probably anyone listening.
Because I saw them, because it's in our survey software that we developed. I didn't develop the question type, but someone else did.
I'm sure everything you said was really important.
I'm sure.
To some nerds in suits somewhere.
Filler or not filler?
No, Agumon's alive again. Like, when the name of the episode tells you something important happened, like, it can't be.
Oh, it's not just like, let's go to the beach, the summer trip, or something. Like, let's all go to the onsen, Yoshino's reveal, I don't know.
When are they going to have a beach episode? That's what I want to know.
I don't think there are any Digimon beach episodes.
That's sad.
No, Atmon had one.
Even Avatar had one.
Yeah. So, since we're talking about the writers now, the writer of this episode, according to Ellie Volk's list, still, thank you by the way, is Yamada Kenichi. And previously, Yamada Kenichi had written episode 25, where Falcomon evolved to Yatagaramon, episode 28, where we met Bancholeomon and protected some Digimon in Cherrymon's forest from the biohybrids, and episode 32, Biospinomon versus Rosemon.
Okay.
And that was
alright.
I think out of those three, I think that the Biospinomon episode was probably the best.
Oh, by a long way, yeah.
I think actually in order of... No, episode 25 was really emotional though.
I don't remember it anymore.
I'm pretty sure I cried. It's when...
Man, you cried everything!
It's when Marukimon dies, and...
It's not emotional, who cares?
And Akuto is like all screaming about how terrible Kurata is and then gets an evolution.
Sure.
So, those are above average episodes, or maybe average episodes like at worst.
Sure, why not?
They're not bad episodes, so...
I can't pull judgments out of that, honestly. It's such a mixed bag.
The second episode that we're watching this week is called The Power of the Burst Mode, or Burst Mode, the power that exceeds Ultimate. What do you think will happen in this episode?
Yeah, you're telling me that Masaru, whose Digimon just died, and who, he's not going to remember you either. When Digimon died, I don't remember anything. He's going to come out, he's going to have the ability to fully evolve immediately in the next episode to not only his top level, but to the next level after that with Burst Mode. But this time, he'll do it right because he's protecting people. Everything's okay now. It's not even the finale of the season, so there's so much more of this.
Do you think it'll be the finale of the arc?
I think next episode will be.
Right. Do you think anything will annoy you in this episode?
Yeah. He remembers you. Because every Digimon who's ever died remembers the person they were with, even though they're not meant to retain their memories.
Well, Piamon kind of remembered.
That's what I'm saying. That's literally that's what I'm saying.
Yes, no, you're fair. But she didn't remember 100%.
Yeah, it's fine. It was the force of love. I promise.
Do you think it'll be a good episode?
No.
What rating?
5.
Okay.
It's not disastrous, but not entertaining.
Do I even have to ask filler or not filler?
It's not. He goes back to burst mode for the first time, and we get to see it for real, and it's a whole big deal. And Bancholeomon's like, "That's my boy," crying tears. I always knew he could do it, though. Literally today, I said that he was a failure, would never live up to his father.
A lot has happened in this day, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, it's like the longest week of anyone's life.
I'm pretty sure this day has been a week.
No, I'm pretty sure this week has been like the entire season.
I think there might have been a few months that passed. Cause
at the beginning, yeah.
At the one point, they mentioned a few months.
No, I mean like, wait, when? During this week?
No, not during this week, like previously.
No, I mean like since they went to the digital world to stop the beginning of the genocide,
yes.
It's been like 2 days.
I'm pretty sure it's the same day as the whole... But the weird thing is it keeps on going night because of plot reasons.
No, it's only been night once.
It was night with the Akuto fighting Mirage Gargamon part and the Shine Greymon Ruin mode.
Yeah, but that was night in the human world.
Yeah.
I mean that they arrive at the digital world and it becomes nighttime once during the siege of Eldoradimon.
Yeah.
It becomes morning during that, and then they all go to the human world again. And then it gets dark during that fight later, but it's not nighttime.
But none of the characters have been shown to sleep.
That is true, because they've been dealing with some heavy stuff.
Good point. So, the writer of this episode was Yamatoya Akatsuki. And previously, Yamatoya wrote episode 29, which was the Evolved to Ultimate episode with Bancholeomon's dojo.
Okay.
And episode 33, the fight between Biodarkdramon and Shine Greymon.
Alright, so he's a hack, and we shouldn't expect anything out of this.
Those were okay episodes.
No, they weren't. Oh yeah, sorry. The guy who's trying to teach you is going to put all of your Digimon in mortal danger. And the only reason the Digimon that the kids have a chance of winning is because the bad guys are idiots and don't just kill their Digimon when they're vulnerable. And then the teacher's plan works perfectly because of course it does. And they all scream really loud. And then, Masaru screams really loud and gets his evolution because that's his character. And everyone else goes, oh yeah, we just evolve as well. Don't worry about it. And then Koki, who doesn't have a backstory because this writer is so bad he can't come up with anything.
Right.
Come on, this is going to be a disappointment. You know it.
So do you change either of your ratings after knowing the writers?
I'm going to dunk it from a 5 to a 4.
What about the first episode?
What the first? I would have changed it if I'd heard.
Okay, cool.
It's a mixed bag with that one. They did some good stuff. They did some mediocre stuff. So there's no reason to change it.
Well, I feel like the Biospinomon and the Rosemon episode was probably one of the
special.
better. I feel like it's still one of the better episodes.
It wasn't special.
Until this arc, it was one of the better ones. But I still think this arc has some really good episodes.
It was in this arc. What are you talking about?
No, I'm just saying that before the last few episodes happened. I don't know. There's been some enjoyable stuff in this arc. So yeah, there you have it. Your predictions. Anything else, or you just want to go on to the show?
Let's go.
I mean, now you have to watch the episodes.
That's a no.
And now we have to talk about them. So this week we'll be covering both the episodes as one episode, so 37 and 38. So to start off, I just want to say how Kurata in the dub is the one recapping it instead of just a voice, which is in the original. And I hate Kurata's voice in this recap, and I don't know why it's more annoying than usual.
Because it's isolated and he's speaking in long sentences.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right. And maybe it's because like it's oddly smug, and maybe I'm meant to not like his voice at this point.
Yeah, but also it's so weird to hear the bad guy give the recap.
Yeah, you're right. When has that ever happened?
Not often.
I don't think it's ever happened in Digimon, right?
I struggle to say. I don't know. It's hard to say. Has Itmon never done it?
Look, but
No, because usually the recapper is really consistent, I think. No, it isn't. No,
well, in Tamers, the recap was done by Davis.
Yeah.
And in Frontier, it was done by Ruki and then Bokomon.
Yeah.
And in Adventure and 02, it was always one of the kids.
I know. So I guess maybe it has never happened.
It's weird. Masaru sees at the destroyed city and he says he'll never forgive Kurata. In the dub, he just says, "I'll never forgive what you've done." So it's what he's done, not him in general. But in the original, it's more like it's just him in general.
It's the same thing.
Masaru says that Agumon can feel his feelings even inside the egg. In the dub, he's just saying how he's going to make Kurata pay. And I don't know why they had to add in this extra, like, oh, we'll make him pay, even though he'd basically just already said that.
No, you can never forgive him, but you'll also make him pay.
But it's removing about the feelings that is shared between a partner and their Digimon, right?
If you insist.
And I don't like this removal of that sort of, that notion. Thomas shows up on the side of good, and Yoshino asks if he did all that he had to, implying that maybe she sort of gathered that he was not really on Kurata's side.
The other two girls are like, yeah, Thomas is back. I always knew he wasn't evil.
In the dub, Yoshi instead asks in kind of like an angry way, Are you on this side for good now? Like, you staying here?
I honestly think that's a really fair... That's a fair question.
Yeah.
Even in that tone, it's fine.
And then in both versions, she says, "Okay, you just repay me by buying me this snack." I'm like, well, that's relatable. Yoshino's pretty relatable.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, she just wants snacks from people. Same. Toma asks Kurata why he hates Digimon if he fused with one, which is actually a really good question.
No, it's so legit. It's so on point, and like he never has an answer for it. His answer is like, "Oh, it's so strong, though."
Yeah, but so why not like Digimon? Wouldn't you want to harness their power by being friends with them and not wanting to blow them up?
The English answer, I think, is there's an English thing he says later. It's not. It must be later. It's really dumb. I just want to mention it now. I'm sure maybe you have it noted down. Do you think a Digimon could have accomplished this on its own? Wait, no, that's not the one. Wait, crap. What is it? It's him talking about the Digimon body. No, that's what it is. Do you think a Digimon could have accomplished this? Talking about how perfect his body is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so Digimon
That's
could.
a Digimon.
Like, that's just like, but that's what Digimon do. Like, evil Digimon destroy things.
No, but it was like he was talking about how cool the body was, and you think a Digimon could have accomplished this? Yes.
Do you think a human could have?
The Digimon that is, that's what accomplished it. You're not even like a bio Belphemon. You're just Belphemon.
I don't know. I feel like a human couldn't accomplish that.
No.
But you're right. No, that is a silly line.
The implication presumably is that it's the cross between them, but it's not.
So Kurata just ignores this question completely.
Yeah, he does, because there's no good answer
Because
to it.
it's a legitimate question.
Well, because it totally... I want to say, like, it totally sees through his motivation, in the sense that if his stated motivation was, I hate Digimon because they're a threat, then, of course, him becoming part of one is totally against that. And that would be an interesting point if the show's like, look, everything he said up until now is a lie, because he actually is just a power-mad maniac and will do anything. The problem is that here, the backstory we've got shown, his entire motivation is based on being scared that one time, and that doesn't make sense with this action.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I've been getting at with Kurata the entire time, where you just have these legitimate questions, but even the show is beginning to point out, like, it doesn't make any sense.
See, you remember when we were watching Atmon, and we would often say, they asked a question that I was asking like 10 seconds after I asked the question, and I always joked about it feeling like they explained like the episode, or maybe they showed the episode to a group of children.
But I came up with that.
And I think we both maybe did.
We went back and forth about it pretty early in Atmon, yeah.
Yeah, but it always felt like maybe a kid put up their hand and asked a question, and then they said...
Okay, Astra will ask that.
Yeah, okay, Astra asked that question. It always felt like, they gave an idea of like, oh, this is what happened in the episode, and the kid asks a kid question because that's what... And
they showed that like really late episode, and Aries like, explosive punch, and kicks that guy. And
I'm like, that was a kick!
But that was a kick! Yes, okay, Astra will say that.
Yeah. For some reason, it reminds me of this because I was actually asking the exact same thing when I was watching this. Like, if he hates Digimon so much, why is he becoming a Digimon? And then Toma asks it. So did they explain this to a kid and the kid say, yeah, hey, he hates Digimon?
But you know how in Atmon it's all like 10 seconds later? In this one it's like 10 episodes later, where everyone's starting to be like, wait a minute, this doesn't add up.
Yeah. So I don't know, it shows that it's a bit more intelligent, that it actually asks these questions, right?
No.
I like it.
It shows that it's written itself into a corner. That's what it shows. Because that's an unanswerable question. What could he say?
They could write a good reason.
No, because the problem is what his motivation is.
But, like, what if it turns out he always envied Digimon by being so powerful?
But what?
I mean, he wouldn't admit to that.
Like, it's just a weird thing to say, right? That wouldn't match up to any of the other things he said, because he's been like, oh, we're superior.
Kurata says that he's an ultimate existence now, and he's so strong and he's so fast. In the dub, he says this, but he also adds on about how he's betrayed by Thomas, and how Thomas, like, he treated Thomas like a son, and Thomas was like a son to him, and like, since when?
It's in the Japanese too.
Was that in the Japanese too?
It was in English for sure.
Oh, I just said it was in English.
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
No, it was not in the original. No.
It was definitely said it in the English, and I go, what do you mean treated him like a son? He
never,
was an employee.
For like maybe an hour.
You know, like, he was on his side for like a day.
Yeah.
And during that day, he just was like, yeah, no, if you don't join me, I'll kill your sister, pretty much.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, to be honest, he's acting a little bit like Thomas' dad, so fair enough.
So the original, it was like just, I'm really strong, I'm great, I'm fantastic, this is why I'm a Digimon, because I'm strong. And the dub, it was all just, it was the same thing, but added on, Thomas was like a son. I'm like, no, he wasn't.
I would have loved if right after that, he also, like, starts blaming, like, when he gets really angry at Masaru later, I think actually next episode, he's like, you killed my children, because if he treated Toma like a son in there, then the Bio Frontier kids, where he thought of them as his children, how he didn't care about them at all, that's basically treating them like his kids.
Well, they were more of his kids.
Hey, here's a question for you.
Yeah?
If his ultimate goal was to was to combine himself with a Digimon because he loves that, why was his original goal to send Thomas' sister into here instead? Like, why was he sending himself in a backup if now he's saying it was his goal all along and makes himself the ultimate existence?
That's fair.
And B, he has the power to fuse people with Digimon and let them control it. Why wouldn't he do that to himself earlier?
You ask good questions.
Yeah, because all the elements of the show are there, and I just don't think any of them are explainable next to each other. Because every time you do this, right, you go, oh, why wouldn't he combine himself with a Digimon? Well, he hates Digimon, and he's afraid of them, and he thinks humans are actually superior to them, so why would he ever do that to himself? He just combines himself with a Digimon. What now? Shrug. That's where I'm at. That's what I got. So, is this where Masaru shows up?
Yeah, so Masaru sees Mirage Galgamon fighting Kurata, and he smiles and then he runs to punch him. In the dub, he doesn't mention how Belphemon and Mirage Galgamon are fighting each other. And he just sort of just says, it's Thomas. And then he makes an angry noise when he smiles. And I got the impression when I first watched this original version, where he smiles because he knows that Toma is on his side, because he says, but they're fighting each other.
No, for me it was just like, I gotta kill that guy.
No, I got the impression of like, he's smiling because he knows that Toma's on the good side now, but he still kind of wants to punch him because that's just how that's just how Masaru works.
The line in the English after he punches it was a sick punch, by the way, is one of the worst lines, I think, in all of Digimon. Like, it's a subtle one, right? It's not quite a nice friends you got there, Davis, but I think it's actually on the level. It goes like this. Nice punch. Real strong. Like our bond.
Oh, that was awful.
It's really bad. It's so bad.
But the worst thing is, I just want to say because I love this moment in the original, because it was almost a reference to what Thomas said like 30 episodes ago.
Yeah.
How he says that that his fists don't shake, they don't waver, and they don't change, and that's why Masaru's fist leaves such an impact on the heart. And he basically 30 episodes ago like criticized his punch and says they're unstable and they're all just power and there's no like technique behind them. And now he's talking about how they leave an impact, but it's on the heart. I know, it's just a really touching line, and I don't feel like the dub line did it justice, like...
Nice punch, real strong, like our bond. Like, anything but like our bond.
No, but the whole line, like, it goes...
Yeah, nice punch, real strong.
No, but after that, he says, I'm sorry, Marcus, I had to pretend so I could gain Kurata's trust. Forgive me. I don't like the way that's framed. He also
didn't have to. He could have just killed Kurata.
Also, no, I don't like the way it's framed because the fact that it's an actual apology, I don't know, it just...
Because the whole point of that scene is that they stare each other down and they both understand how the other one feels and they get over it. It's all subtle, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're back on the same team immediately.
It was subtle, and that's why we have that cool scene of just Yoshino and Rosemon looking at each other, and Yoshino just says, "Men are dumb."
That's not a cool scene. That's a funny scene.
It's a cool scene because it's funny, but it was did you notice
men are idiots.
Did you know how this was cut? That's that scene with Yoshino saying
I actually missed that.
It was cut because Rosemon's breasts take up half the screen.
Oh my god. They have a thing about about those.
While we're talking about breasts,
on the topic.
Mickey and Megumi's breasts changed size from absolutely just flat to the editors just couldn't be bothered and just left them in. Like, if they weren't the focus of the screen, the actual scene going on, if they were in the background, their breasts are normal size. But if they're in the focus, they don't just make them smaller. They just cut them off.
It's a weird thing for them to do, especially with Cross Wars coming up.
Look, they've been giving mastectomies, basically.
Mastectomies. Yeah.
It was a mistake. But it's just, I found it weird because, I mean, they are very booby characters for the kids show. But
do whatever they want.
Also, while we're on the topic of censoring things, they keep on editing Rosemon's, they give her, more material, but this is also inconsistent. Sometimes they give her, the same amount of material or a little bit more, and sometimes they just cover the whole thing. It's really inconsistent editing.
While we're on the topic, now that I'm just remembering it, of cartoons for children, I just want to tell a little personal story. Back when I was young, we had a place nearby. There's Blockbuster, obviously, and that's the big mainstream place. We have a thing here, we had a thing, I think they're all dead now, called Network Video, which is a little competitor for them. And I went into this Network Video one day, and the shelves, had some really good shelves. They had horror, and they had cult, which is a cool, set of, popular films, whatever. And then there was one called animation. Mostly it's Disney, Pixar, you got your Shrek or whatever is on then, and it's all the animated films.
Was Boku no Pico there?
And then there was hentai there.
Fantastic.
It was on the top shelf, and I just look at it and I'm like, that doesn't look right. What is that? And I grab it and I look at the back of it. I'm 98% chance this is hardcore pornography. What is this doing here?
Wonderful. Well, it all looks the same. It's
animation.
It's for kids, right?
Yeah, it's animated. All right, so that was my whole thing. Years later, I found that video again. Let's not talk about that.
I feel like a lot of the episode's already done, but then we get the intro credit sequence, but I'm fine because Hirari is the best. It's the best.
You have to speak your fight. Do bring it on.
You just like the English openings.
Leave your soul,
and you will reach your goal. Prepare to Digivolve. Digimon. It's good. Is it better than Frontiers
Never
one?
surrender. Never be outdone.
Is it better than Frontiers though?
No, it's not.
At least Frontier had its opening.
That's true. The English openings are consistently quite good. Well, most of the time.
Yeah, that really deep one was Digimon
Digimon are the champions.
Digivolve into Ultimate. Modify.
Spirit Evolution. No, was it Armor Evolution? You were like, oh, that's spoilers. It was Spirit.
Armor Digivolve.
It was Armor Digivolve was the one that was spoilers, and there was another one where there was a song that says Spirit, we let our spirits evolve.
Oh yeah,
and you're like, no, that's a spoiler. It's not.
Yeah, because Digimon Frontiers opening was in the 02 movies and Tamers movies.
We let our spirits evolve is not a spoiler, especially for someone who's never heard the Spirit Evolution before.
You're right. You're 100% right.
It's not our now we spirit evolve.
Yeah.
God.
Belphemon Rage Mode does the old, this kind of attack won't even leave a scratch, which I feel like there should be a Digimon series drinking game where you take a shot every time we have a bad guy who says, haha, that kind of attack won't leave a scratch.
Yeah, it's a lot. And I actually wrote earlier when the Mirage Galgamon was fighting, and I go, do you know that throwing your old attacks at the new bad guy won't do anything? Seriously.
Yeah, both episodes this week, they follow very much generic, big bad fight.
Every single thing that comes out here has new evolution upgrade, new evolution multiplier, or whatever you want to call it. And it's so stark and obvious because there are 3 in the course of these 3 episodes. So Belphemon shows up, which means that no one can touch him. And then, obviously, Ikuto's thing in this episode means, all of a sudden he's effective. He'll never be effective again, I promise. And then in the next episode, Shine Greymon Burst Mode, whatever, gets his evolution bonus. And they all have it immediately in a row. You can see it. It's really obvious.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Ravemon evolution just being really strong and able to leave a scratch and then not being able to leave a scratch. Yeah, I see what you mean.
So it cuts back and Masaru's on top of a building and he jumps off it to try and punch Belphemon and fails and falls to the ground. Doesn't die.
Look, I just love the fact that he, even though he's not with the Digimon, he still wants to fight.
My name's Masaru and I love to fight. Here's my favorite thing about this, and probably my favorite thing in this episode, is Masaru being like, okay, no, hold on, I'm gonna go try that again. again. He not only is he going to get up and try and fight, obviously, Belphemon Rage Mode again, he's going to climb back to the top of the building he just jumped off.
Yeah.
Did anything stop him on the way down?
No, he kind of just landed on solid ground.
Didn't he jump 20 stories off?
Yes. He's very strong.
How? Anyway, there are a bunch of failed attacks. Like, this just... So it's not worth mentioning this whole fight. They were just like beating on Belphemon and he's just laughing at them.
I noticed that Rage Mode is for some reason animated in a way that not only just shows his bum for some reason quite a lot, which is fine because, you know, fan service should be an equal opportunity thing. We get fan service from the boobs and we get fan service from Belphemon's bum apparently. I also noticed that the way that the shadows and the detail on his face remind me of Inuyasha for some reason.
I never saw it.
Like an Inuyasha yokai.
Yokai.
Yeah. But yeah, Inuyasha wasn't bad. Rosemon stops the claw of Ragemon and I keep on calling him Ragemon.
Do that.
I call him Sleepmon and Ragemon and I'm going to keep on doing that, okay?
It's fine, I believe you.
So he says, look, she says, oh, you shouldn't forget that we are here too, because basically he's only been focusing on the you know, quote unquote main characters.
Isn't he meant to be Sloth? Why is he Rage Mode?
I don't know, he's grumpy. He's grumpy mode.
Shouldn't he be Wrath Mode? Be a different thing?
He's grumpy mode. Yatagaramon charges at him and he's thrown aside and devolves. Ikuto says that he shouldn't kill any of his friends. And Kurata says that Digimon are vermin. He says currently being a Digimon.
Yeah.
And that he's given these worthless existence purpose.
Yeah, and I guess, like, Ikuto, I don't know, like, he gives this really long, stupid speech. And I don't mean that the speech is, like, dumb in its content. Like, everything he's saying is perfectly fine. You know, Digimon, my family, they taught me a lot. They taught me how to be a better person before I even knew I was human.
Look, I love this
And all that stuff is really
scene.
fantastic. The only problem is Belphemon's standing right there. Wouldn't he just stomp him to death while he's talking?
That's always a problem with a lot of pieces of media where we have a character monologuing and they're having their growth and the bad guy's just nice enough to stand there.
Like, why is he doing that?
He's nice enough to let him monologue, but if we ignore that, it is a really nice scene.
I don't want to ignore that. It's a key thing to the story.
Yeah. But,
Paimon would never let that fly.
or at least a character would say, hey, why hasn't he tried to kill you? Or something. I don't know.
So instead he does a big old evolution.
No, I really want to cover this speech because I think it's really nice.
It's so boring.
So he says, look, Digimon aren't better than humans and humans aren't better than Digimon.
Only one of us can shoot lasers out of our eyes, is all I'm saying.
Frigimon taught him about warmth. In the dub, he says how to love others.
Get a good snowman.
And Mercurimon taught discipline, and other Digimon taught him competition. In the dub, it's how to fight. And Masaru and the others taught him the importance of friendship, and all of them are his friends, and Kurata has no friends, and Akuto will win because he has friendship. In the dub, he doesn't say that he will win because he has friendship. He'll say that Kurata will lose because he doesn't have friendship. So Falcomon evolves to Ravemon, and he has first episode strength, and is able to leave a scratch, and everyone's, you know, oh, he's able to leave a scratch.
Yeah, go Rave Pants.
In the dub, for some reason, Ravemon says that he has more attacks than his other evolutions combined, which I don't think is actually true.
Also, is that like 3 attacks?
I feel like he has maybe 4 attacks.
Also, why does it matter if you have more attacks? Isn't it whether or not they're any good? Because this show doesn't matter what you're actually attacking with. You could have 1 attack. If it's stronger than everyone else's stuff, you'll win. Because no one has any strategy about how they fight.
Yeah. So then Belphemon does the old like, oh, I'm angry, and he hulks out, and he gets kind of swole. And then in the dub, Thomas says that he's digivolving.
Which is weird, because it's clearly not true.
And I feel like Thomas should know that.
He's a doctor.
And now Ravemon weakens because we've already had his, you know, first episode buff. He's back to normal now. And Belphemon says that those who reject him will be served judgment. Akuto and Ravemon jump in the way to protect Masaru because friends are important. And Masaru says that Kurata's going down. And Belphemon says he's not Kurata. He's Belphemon.
Oh, it's like Belphemon's like subsuming him.
And we find out that Belphemon has consumed Kurata, which I just want to say that the next time on for the previous episode actually had the scene where Belphemon says, I'm not Kurata. And that's like what they showed in the next time on. I feel like that should have been a bigger reveal, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you watch the next time ons?
Not usually.
Yeah, I found it interesting.
But we also know it's not true. It's a waste of time. Because Kurata's coming out of the stomach the whole time.
Oh, it's creepy.
And like, oh no, there he is. He's totally involved.
In the dub, he's also offended to be compared to a lowly human like Kurata. We see that Sayuri is making fried eggs and says that Agumon will come back because Agumon loves Masaru. In the dub, Sarah adds on that Marcus won't admit it, but he loves Agumon just as much as Agumon loves him.
Aww.
That's kind of cute.
But neither of them like each other as much as they like fried egg.
Because fried egg's good. Sayuri's fried egg's the best. Everyone attacks Belphemon, and Masaru is talking to Agumon about how everyone's fighting, and no matter what, he says he wants to fight with Agumon. In the dub, he's just saying how he feels really useless. The egg hatches into Koromon, and it sucks onto his face.
Oh, it's really cute. It's funny.
And this scene reminds me of when Bodamon evolved into Koromon in the Digimon Adventure movie, like the prequel.
Yeah.
And Koromon had some food, got happy, and then sucked his face onto Hikari's face. I know, it reminded me of that. It was really cute. Masaru sees he's not Agumon and remembers what Bancholeomon said about his memories. Then we get some memories from Masaru, and one of them is cut. It's the one of the bath scene. Not sure why it's cut.
It's because he's a naked child.
And Koromon calls him Aniki and says, hey, why are you crying? And then Masaru says he's not crying. It's sweat dripping from his head.
For his heart.
It's head.
He says heart.
It's head.
Are you sure? Because it's way funnier my way.
No, it's head.
I would recommend we look at that again because it's way funnier my way.
It's head in both versions.
I think he just says he's really sweaty because it's hot.
No.
I really think it's sweating from his heart.
Okay, we'll rewatch it, but it is head.
It's way funnier.
Masaru says that he wants to fight with Agumon, and later he's gonna let him eat whatever he wants. Everything starts glowing, and Bancholeomon's watching and says that a true Digisoul is not born from a fist of hatred.
Let's not be generous with Bancholeomon and say he's watching. He's standing on a rooftop a mile away and not helping.
Oh yeah, in the next episode he's useless. Like he's just standing there doing nothing.
He does that thing in anime which is he sees something happen that he knew would happen for some reason and he goes, and that's it.
Yeah, he does like, I helped. I'm like, no you didn't. You were the most useless character.
Literally nothing. He wasn't even like it's not even like he was the teacher to the good guy, so he's like letting him flourish on his own. Because he didn't teach him anything. He literally said, you're a disappointment, you're not nearly as cool as your dad. That was the last thing he said.
Yeah. I feel like he should at least be helping in this battle though, right?
You'd think so. Like Belphemon, who's apparently some sort of prophesized evil, is there, and Bancholeomon's like, yeah, you know what, I'll risk it, fine.
In the dub, instead of saying that Digisoul's not born from hatred, he adds on to say how true power comes from the heart. Agumon is Agumon,
where sweat comes from.
And they want to eat after they beat Kurata. In the dub, they say they want breakfast, and they go off and they're gonna fight Kurata. It's really dramatic.
He already evolved through immediately.
Yeah, and we don't even get an evolution, he just glows. Also, just so you know, Bodamon doesn't actually they got rid of the first in training stage and now it's just Koromon, so that's why he hatched into Koromon and evolved straight to Agumon.
I wasn't asking, I don't care.
Then episode 38 starts, and I noticed that in the dub I felt like the recap was a little bit longer than it felt like it needed to be. Did you get that impression?
No, because I don't always watch them.
Oh, I do. Miki and Megumi are still thinking how it's hopeless, but Yoshino says they're wrong, and Thomas says that they're a team and they can overcome anything and everything by putting their strengths together, and Akuto says that when everyone is together, power gushes out, which was interesting wording.
This whole bit, and I feel like I have a scene like this in the last one too. And I know that they said, oh, it's a little bit hopeless, whatever, at the beginning. But really, everyone seems really upbeat when it's all going very badly. And probably thousands of people have died.
Maybe, yes. I don't think anyone's actually noticed that the fact that many buildings have been blown up.
And they're all just like, yeah, we'll do this. Because it seems very clear, at least from the perspective of the protagonists, there is no possibility that they will lose.
Which I feel like you should have as a possibility, right?
Do you remember when they fought Piedmon in Adventure and everyone was really scared?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of how you build tension. When all the heroes are like, we got this, then there's no tension. And there isn't with this show.
It is meant to be a dramatic scene, though. But no, I think
It's not dramatic. It's the opposite of what it is.
I think I say every week how it feels like Savers has the highest civilian body count.
I mean, probably. Oh, that said, Venom killed tons of people, probably.
I think the D-Reaper probably killed a lot.
D-Reaper was kind of slow. You had a chance to evacuate.
I feel like D-Reaper ate a building.
You did, but that building probably evacuated.
Maybe. But the point is, Savers' highest body count, I'm pretty sure. Yoshino says that no matter how bad things are, they're always able to pull through. And Rosemont says that all the scattered puzzle pieces have joined to form a perfect puzzle, or a perfect picture. In the dub, it's the same. It's the same.
Okay.
I really wanted this part to be different. I wanted them to add in some lame jokes, but it was more or less the same.
Then they all get the genius idea to, oh my god, what a strategy, all attack at once.
Like, I feel like how many times this happens in the show, they should have actually known to do that from the start.
This is literally what every Power Rangers episode's about.
I don't think I'd like that.
Yeah, but the difference is that Power Rangers are based on cool themes that are happening, so the actual fight's irrelevant.
Oh no.
Also, to be totally fair, they didn't write the fights. The fights are B-roll footage they got from Japanese Sentai, and they just have to include it into the episode somehow.
Oh yeah. Mirage, Gogumon, and Ravemon say that they can still move, which I'm pretty sure this episode, I liked this episode, I liked the last episode, but the episode episodes we are covering this week seemed very much like, let's put as many shonen tropes, especially shonen fighting tropes, into this episode as possible. Because we have the whole, let's all attack at once. They have the all, haha, you didn't even leave a scratch. We have the whole, like, new evolution is able to do damage. And then we have, don't worry, I can still stand. Like,
May all attack at once isn't a shonen trope, because in shonen everyone fights one-on-one.
You're right.
But you know what is a shonen trope that I hate?
What?
Oh, we all do a big attack and now there's a giant smoke cloud. That means the bad guy must be dead.
Oh, yeah, that one. Right. Mirage Gargamon says that he wants some orders, and Thomas says he already knows. They all attack. Masaru and Agumon do a dual punch, and this is the coolest thing in the
It's the best thing in the episode by a long way.
It's so cool. It's got this inverting of colours effect. It is so cool. Agumon says he feels the best and he's full of power and he's feeling as strong as he ever has before, even stronger, and he evolves to Shine Greymon. Then we get the intro, and we have Hirari, and I love Hirari. Rolanda is watching, and Yushima says that Toma will be alright. Chika is concerned too, and is in Sayuri's arms. And I love the thing I really like about this episode is what we get now, and it's Toma directing not just his own Digimon, but everyone's Digimon, and I love that because he should be, and that's his job. He's the one with strategy, and he's able to work out what they have to do, right?
Yeah. No, I also felt the same thing. I just had a thought. If Kurata put the bomb around Rolanda's neck to make sure that Toma would, like, obey and whatever, if he had such leverage over Toma, like, I'll kill your sister, wouldn't he also have been able to get Toma to wear one of those things?
Maybe he only had one.
Oh, yeah, because that's how many robots he has. Just one.
Look, he's under financial issues at the moment.
Oh, yeah, so he can't afford one bomb necklace.
Yeah,
but
he developed like 300 robots.
But he can afford these backpacks full of space-time bombs.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, no, you're right, maybe. I can't think of a reason why you're not right now, but I'm sure there's a reason why you're wrong.
I bet there's not.
So then we have Shine Greymon saying that he's stronger than before, and in the dub I noticed that Rosemon had more breast coverage, as I mentioned in the last episode.
Sorry, speaking of chests, and I'm laughing at my own thing here. Belphemon's chest gives birth to Kurata's face.
Well, yeah.
It's
also,
really gross.
How often has this happened where, like, a face that doesn't belong on a body has popped out of that body?
Not
like,
often? What do you mean?
This scene reminds me of in the first Tamers movie, Battle of Adventures, where we had that weird professor guy who became a Digimon. He became a Fistomon, and the weird head just sort of popped out and it didn't look like it belonged.
I guess but it's the other way around. He was human and the head came out of his chest, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's different.
It was still weird though. It just reminded me of
different.
it. So in the original, Kurata, when he's popping out of Belphemon, says hate, hate, hate. In the dub, it's just Masaru's last name. He says that he's mad at Daimon and how all Daimons are terrible and they always stand in his way between him and his dreams. Masaru says that he's doing everything for a puny reason. In the dub, it's for a lame reason. Belphemon's getting mad and is just sucking up the city's power, and he eats some space-time oscillation bombs, and Belphemon grows and puts a large portal to the digital world in the sky. So it just reminds me of Digimon Adventure.
Did you just skip to the end of the episode?
Well, it's the portal at the moment. It's not we don't know it's a digital world yet.
Every time he does an attack, that like it cuts a hole in space-time.
Yes.
But it's important, is that it's cutting the hole into like that intermediary space where the bombs usually go. Whereas at the end of the episode, what I think is unique about the portal at the end is that you can just see the digital world. And that is just straight out of Adventure. Like, that's embarrassingly out of Adventure.
Right.
You're in Japanese city, you look up in the sky and there's a digital world. I wonder if I've seen that one before.
Yeah, this part just reminded me so much of Digimon Adventure. And it was the same for the last episode. We have Koromon sucking on some face.
You mean a big fuzzy bad guy standing in the middle of a ruined city with all these people around him holding up digivices? That looks familiar to you?
I know. I think it was cool though. Even though, like, yes, you said it's been done before, I think it's cool.
I don't.
Toma wonders why he went this far. Toma then tells them to start using evasion tactics as he's worried the two worlds will collide. And Masaru says they have to defeat the bad guy, and Toma agrees. Then I want to point out how there's a weird edit in here. So in the original, Miki and Megumi are discussing the portals, but the camera is focusing on like their lower half, like their lower torso, right? Their legs and like probably from the belly button down to their legs, right?
I don't remember this.
So this was in the original, and they were just talking about it. In the dub, this is replaced with footage from the previous episode, and we have one of them screaming at Toma, and then the other one telling her to calm down.
Sorry, I'm freaking out over like the idea that there's like the editor of the show is like a 13-year-old girl, and it shows Miki and Megumi, and every time, like, no matter what part of them, they're just like, lewd! Oh god, get rid of it! Edit it out!
No, I just found that as a weird thing, because it wasn't like a sexual pose or anything, it was just the pose, and it just felt really awkwardly edited. They were just like randomly screaming at Toma all of a sudden. It was weird. Everyone will create an opening for Shine Greymon, and then Shine Greymon will strike him in the Kurata face.
My favourite bit about everyone creating an opening is when Toma yells very loudly, "Hey, you guys, go around and distract him! You be a distraction! He can't hear me, right?"
Well, maybe he hasn't developed ears.
He has ears, they're talking to him.
Oh, maybe you're right. Belphemon is still standing because of Kurata's temptations, and...
His what?
I know, I've written that down because of Kurata's...
What is temptation?
Belphemon is still standing because Kurata's temptations are there. I have no idea what I meant by that.
Because I know that there's the Forbidden Temptation move that's used on him, and Kurata's like, ooh, for like a second, and then he's like beaten up so he forgets.
Maybe.
Question is, if he didn't keep attacking him, would that have just worked?
I know, I think I got distracted, so I didn't actually fully write my sentence, because Bancholeomon's just there, doing nothing.
Doing nothing at all, and he's like the strongest one.
No, that's Imperialdramon.
No, he's not here though.
Okay, good point.
He's the strongest one here.
Okay, he's the strongest one present.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bancholeomon being here and not helping distracted me enough that I didn't actually finish some sentences in my notes. So my apologies if you get my notes, but they're a bit all over the place because Bancholeomon's just standing there.
It's just... He seems to think he's doing tons.
He's just sitting there going, He's being smug.
Yes. Just like I taught him. When I told him he was pathetic and worthless and wouldn't amount to anything. Perfect. Plan is coming to fruition.
Masaru wants to punch Kurata, and Belphemon attacks, but everyone protects Masaru, and this is a really nice moment. He asks why. Mirage Gargamon says that he won't overlook a friend who's in danger, and then Thomas smiles.
My favourite part is how Rosemon's in there, but she's tiny, so she's not actually doing anything.
Yeah. Oh, she's using Forbidden Temptations, so
No, not when she's attacking, when they're standing in the way of the big attack, right? Their arms are out and they're trying to take the blast, which is exactly what happened in the last episode.
Yeah.
But Rosemon's up there on the side. She's not even, like, next to Galgamon. She's, like, a bit off to the side. So she's literally not useful in this at all. She's just throwing herself in front of the attack for no reason.
Ravemon's small too, though.
True, but still bigger, right?
So, in the dub, Mirage Gargamon says, like Thomas said, as a team, there's nothing we can't overcome. Then Ravemon says, don't be so cold. At least let us take care of this much.
The best thing about this scene, which you're not mentioning, is that every time one of these Digimon talk, it cuts back to their...
Yeah, no, I mentioned that with Toma. I just haven't gone to the part with Ravemon yet. So, yeah, then we have a part with Ikuto, and he just lifts up a thumb.
Yeah.
It's like, yee. And I do love that. I love how... And again, it's showing the emotions that is shared between the Digimon and the human. Because it seems that the human partner is also saying that with their face. Like, Toma smiles, and then Ikuto gives the thumbs up. In the dub, Ravemon says, Keenan said it too. We're a team. We fight together. Then Rosemon says that maybe it's in her blood. Which, do plants have blood?
No, they have sap or other things. When
I read this line, I thought she said, maybe it's my bond. And she meant her bond with Yoshino, because that was like their thing, right?
Yeah.
But no, she said blood.
Oh, fair enough.
Don't know why she said blood.
Also, Digimon don't have blood.
Yeah, good point.
Except in Atmon.
In the dub, she just says, yeah, a team. I don't know, I feel like that doesn't mean as much as the other characters. But also we have like Yoshi, who looks unconscious against a rock.
That line is way funnier if you imagine Sunflowmon saying it. Yeah, a team.
Sunshine. Look, something I've got to love about Sabers is the fact that
Sunflowmon sucks.
No, they ignore their other levels now. Like, wasn't that your complaint in every season? Like, why would they not go their strongest evolution?
That's fair enough. Also, you should be unhappy because you know what? Yoshi is not a character in the show. She's just not.
I like her.
We're like 30-something episodes into this.
38.
We're 38 episodes in.
But by the way, Jay, we have 10 episodes left.
That's great. It's 38 episodes in, and like, is Yoshi actually a main character?
That's really sad. I don't want to talk about it.
She's not, isn't she?
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Ruki got so much more time than this.
Ruki got more time than Henry.
Yeah, because Henry sucks.
Henry just went from...
Terriermon had all the time.
Yeah, Henry didn't change throughout the thing. And I think that was good about Henry, that he didn't have like much of a character that changed. Then we have Ruki, who just like, she went from hating everyone and hating Digimon to loving loving her friends and then loving her partner and knowing that she has like this relationship. And it's so beautiful. I'm really emotional about Ruki still. I will never not be emotional about Ruki.
Rocky.
And then I'm also emotional about Eri. Eri and Ruki should just hang out.
I know.
And Mimi. Masaru shouts for Shine Greymon to lend him power to save his friend and the world. Shine Greymon says that he's wrong, and the power isn't something that is borrowed or given, and Masaru says the power is combined. In the dub, Shine Greymon says that the power comes from him, and Marcus says, no, it's from both of us.
Even though he was the one who was just saying it comes from you. And here's the thing, right? If, when Burstmon's about to activate, and you're doing it wrong, something activates that allows your Digimon to just have a little chat with you, why didn't that happen last time?
Because it was... Okay.
Shouldn't there have been a moment where he's like,
look,
hey, no, stop being so angry, okay?
Jay,
the power comes from both of us.
Because this is Masaru listening to Shine Greymon's heart and Agumon's emotions. In the end, we found out that when Shine Greymon became Ruin Mode, he was ignoring the cries that were coming from his heart.
Yeah, but
and this time he's listening. And also, it's a difference between Masaru wanting to kill and Masaru wanting to save.
But also, you can't not listen to something that isn't said to you. And this time it was said, so of course he's able to listen. Last time it wasn't.
Right.
Because there's no indication that there's anything different when he's yelling into the sky, right? He's not, oh, I'm listening to your heart. He's just like, no, give me your power. We're gonna fight now. He's no different as a person. He's learned nothing.
Speaking of learning nothing, Bancholeomon's just there, and then he says, here it comes, and he just stands there because he's useless.
Now this is the true burst mode.
Shine Greymon says that they will defeat Kurata, and Masaru says that they will protect the world and their friends. And then we get Charge Digisoul Burst. Bancholeomon says they did well by merging their feelings and igniting their strongest Digisoul. And this is just said during the evolution.
Burst mode is just another soul.
Look, burst mode is just the same sort of thing as Crimson mode or any mode change. It's just a mode change.
Because he has Grey Sword as like a part of it, it's just a second sword.
Yes. Then we get a moment when Shine Greymon burst mode is approaching Belphemon and doing this weird sort of awkward dance. We're going to like just ignore that, the way he's like approaching him. Just ignoring that because it's awkward. So he opens up his hand. Shine Greymon opens up his hand. Ball of fire. Yeah. Inside the ball of fire is Masaru.
I kind of assumed he teleported Masaru into his hand.
Look, I love this, but it makes no sense with rules of physics.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's like, surely if you're inside fire, like there's no oxygen. Even if it's just a ball of fire.
No, there is, but it goes away quickly.
I know. I feel like this scene makes no sense, but it is very cool.
Also, you can hold his breath.
I feel like he wouldn't be comfortable, or he would be naked.
No.
His clothes would be burnt off.
Oh, for sure.
It is a really, really cool scene, though. His friends cheer him on. Yoshino says that he should do it for the deaths of the Digimon, and Akuto says for everyone who suffered under Kurata. In the dub, Keenan just says for Frigimon and Marukimon, and that's a common theme whenever in the original Akuto mentions Digimon or humans who have suffered because of Kurata, the dub keeps on changing it to just Marukimon and Frigimon because apparently those are the only Digimon that Keenan cares about.
They're sure the other ones that matter.
Well, apparently. Then we get Marcus's voice changing again, and he says, here's all I have for you. I'm like, why is your voice changing? You were just aged like 30 years. Masaru punches Kurata in the face, and for some reason in the dub they add in more digital effects.
Pew, pew, pew.
It looks like they're censoring it, but it looks really weird.
It's a great punch though, it was really sick.
It's a good punch, it's a good scene. All the punches in both these episodes this week are pretty cool. Kurata falls out of Belphemon, so Marcus punched him so hard he fell out of a demon, and he yells about ambitions.
Well, Belphemon's dead, isn't he?
I think so. In the dub, he yells about dreams and plans. He explodes the bomb, and then he asks for help, but then he just dies.
Huh.
So this is like probably the first on-screen human death in Digimon, right?
I guess.
Then we notice the digital world's in the sky.
Wait, no. The guy from 02 died.
Oh, yeah. Oikawa.
Oikawa died? Come on.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Oikawa.
Like the same way.
Well, yeah. Yeah, that was really sad. He just kind of died.
It wasn't sad.
No, it was sad because his Digimon was there, his Digimon that he always dreamt of being with.
Mate, it was 02. It wasn't sad.
Oh, that was sad. Anyway, digital world's in the sky. It's Digimon Adventure again.
And that's the end of that chapter.
What do you think of this episode as someone who is new to Digimon?
Oh my god. It might have been my own mindset, but it was just so much fighting over nothing, and it was really boring. And my problem consistently is that Kurata's plot, his whole plan doesn't make any sense. There's a line in the English, and I know it's the English, so it doesn't mean anything, but it's like, I gotta thank Belphemon for allowing me to, do all this destruction. Like, wait, when was destruction his goal? What was the point of that?
I thought his goal was to rule the world.
Yeah, it was. And also, there's a bit in the English, and I don't know why, I don't know if this is in Japanese as well, I can't remember. But he goes, Belphemon, help me. Like, he's talking to Belphemon as if they're different people.
But I don't think he cares about Belphemon, so I don't know why he would have asked for help.
And the whole point is, from his perspective, he controls the body. There's no other mind there. So, by the way, that story, the idea of Belphemon subsuming Kurata, didn't happen. That's not real. That next time on was a lie. I know it happened in the show. But then Kurata came back and it was never relevant.
See, I thought it was pretty cool, though.
Was it?
I thought it was. The fact that it turned out not to be Kurata at one point. Because I believe...
But that's only at one point.
I believe you did say, hey, why is Kurata taking over? Shouldn't it be the actual
No, and I thought that would
Demon Lord?
happen. But then because they undid it, like, does it even count?
I mean, I would have preferred if Kurata died. Like, you know, just Belphemon just absorbed him completely and Kurata
me too.
died. And we didn't do the creepy face thing. And the enemy is now Belphemon.
You know what that is, though? I bet they're like, but we can't have Belphemon hit the button, so I guess it has to be Kurata.
Also, they needed a reason for him to eat the time oscillation bombs.
Yeah, it would have been weird.
I feel like they could have, like, Kurata could have set a timer. Or maybe Kurata falls out or something. And Belphemon, it takes over and poops him out or something. I don't know.
There's lots of good questions, but oh well.
I feel like I agree in the way that they could have been done better, but at the same time, I'm able to think that it's fine. Like, I don't think it's a huge problem. What do you rate both these episodes together and then apart?
I mean, look, at the end of the day, what is this? What are these episodes? They're an arc of beating this bad guy that I struggle to care about through a lot of evolutions that don't mean much. And then finally, the burst mode thing is mediocre at best. The only good thing in these episodes are like Master hanging out with Agumon and punches, right? So the episodes together are a 6 at best, and then I have to give like a 7 and a 6 is the most generous thing I could possibly imagine. And I guess the 7 goes to the second one, which is a reverse of my Obnoxious Synopsis guess.
Yeah, because you were like, oh, it's going to be a 4.
Oh, but yeah, fair enough.
4 enough.
Wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad.
See, I liked these episodes. I gave both an 8. I really enjoyed them. I found they were fun. I feel like they were a good sort of end to the Kurata arc. I felt they were satisfying. They had good moments. They had great character moments, in my opinion. Yes, I feel like Yoshino should be doing a little bit more, but I'm glad they gave some moments to Miki and Megumi as well. I really like the fact that they referenced what Thomas said about Masaru's punches very early on. I loved that, actually. I had completely adored it. And I love the whole Koromon being Koromon and not Agumon and kind of like worrying Masaru. However, I didn't like the fact that Bancholeomon was just standing there.
It was pretty awful the whole time.
I felt like he should have had a reason. Like, they should have given him an explicit reason of why he's standing there. Even if it made no sense, just him saying, oh, I'm standing here because I believe that they can do it on their own and it's part of their training or something. But because he just stood there, it just seemed like he was terrible, right? Like, he wasn't helping at all.
Absolutely agree.
How did both these episodes compare to predictions in Obnoxious Synopsis?
Well, it seems fairly obvious. Obviously, Agumon didn't die, and it was the power of friendship, and he would totally remember him. And the silly nonsense wasn't that bad, so I can't say I was really annoyed by it. And the 6 was very accurate. That's fair enough. And then in the second episode, more power, friendship, silliness, which is definitely true. There was a lot of it.
Oh yeah, but I always say that it makes sense for it to be in Sabers. And look, I hate the power of friendship, but like, it makes sense in Sabers.
I guess this perfectly. Bancholeomon will take credit for true burst mode as though it was his plan all along. Like, everything about him was like, yep, according to Keikaku.
Oh, that was really annoying that he did that though.
Apparently I said it was a 5, not a 4, so get wrecked.
Okay, I feel like you're pretty negative, so I'm glad that it was better than you thought, right?
Yeah, I guess.
I think you said that the second one would be... No, I think you downgraded it to a 4 when I told you what the writer had previously done, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because it was episodes that you weren't a fan of, or episodes that were just okay.
But when I actually wrote it down, it was a 5.
Yeah. What was the major difference that you noticed between the Japanese and the English version?
In the second one, it has to be when he's like, Belphemon, do a thing, like he's talking to a different person. And I feel like that's such a weird addition that it's hard to really get past.
Yeah.
And in the first one, what was it? Nice punch, real strong, like a bond.
Oh yeah, and the fact that he apologized after that instead of it just being weird and subtle.
I also like where referencing his Digimon body. Do you think a Digimon could have accomplished this on its own? And then immediately after that, he's fighting some dudes, and he says, "Those who cross me don't live to tell the tale." Kurata, you've been a Digimon for 2 minutes.
I think Belphemon said that, didn't he? I thought Belphemon said those who cross me will receive judgment.
I thought that was that he became Belphemon in the beginning of the next episode.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong then. Oh no, because Belphemon did say something along those lines. So I just want to talk about the adventure parallels because...
Can we not?
Okay, I just want to mention, I really like the adventure parallels.
Yeah, there's some stuff in the sky. Great.
And the Koromon. It's great. Look, I love callbacks to adventure, even if it's not on... I think it's on purpose, right? It's a reference?
What,
no.
a Koromon in that show with an Agumon? So is the Agumon a reference?
Yes, the Agumon's a reference.
So how... But you can't call the Koromon a new reference.
No, it's trying to do things different than other seasons, but at the same time, I feel like it's still referencing previous seasons. And I really appreciate that. What's your thought of the evolution trigger that this had? Did you like it at all? Like the evolution trigger?
It was like the punch was good, but like
the punches. Look, that punch was amazing. The dual punch, because Agumon hasn't been shown to punch except for when he punched Masaru.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
I made a gif of it. I don't
know.
Fight.
Like he's just yelling a lot, and then they have a little conversation. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. I'm not impressed by it.
I'm actually fine with it,
mate. It's Digimon. You're fine with everything.
Oh no, there's a few things I'm not fine with, like when you get sent in the air and you land on a train.
Yeah, that was pretty special.
And you go on the train tracks to the moon.
Pretty special.
Built by no one.
But let's be honest, you'd seen that before, and you were fine with it the first time.
I didn't think about it the first time.
Yeah, you were fine with it.
I thought about it the second time, though, without any... Like,
there are thousands of people who saw this show, and no one has said anything about that moment. I'm pretty sure we're the first people in history to ever question that.
What are your thoughts on burst mode?
What is it?
Like,
it's just a mode, right?
It happened.
Oh, alright. That's not as bursty as you'd think.
And there are 10 episodes left of this season. What do you think?
Oh, I'm looking forward to being over.
Wow, that's horrible. It's a good season.
It's acceptable. I don't know what to tell you. It's not good.
I think it's better than Cross Wars.
Okay, well, thanks. I have to watch that one still.
I know, I'm sorry. I mean, I like Cross Wars more than other people say they like it, so I don't think it's too bad. For Screenshot of the Week this week, as I mentioned, I really liked the dual punch scene, so I made it into a GIF because I loved it so much, and so I'm cheating and using a GIF as my Screenshot of the Week.
In that case, I'm going to take Koromon biting, trying to eat Masaru's face.
That's good. It's a strong one. Digimon Design introduced these episodes. We didn't mention it last week, but Bishop Chessmon and Rook Chessmon, what do you think?
Honestly, they're just robots, and I can't even, imagine them.
They look like chess pieces.
Yeah, I know, but, they're so uninspired that there's nothing to them.
What about Shine Greymon Burst Mode?
We saw it already, just in a different colour.
Okay, so your opinion is the same of just regular Shine Greymon?
Yeah. I was talking about Ruin Mode, but fine, you can say that.
Well, Ruin Mode was also just monochrome.
Yeah, I know,
Shine
so it's
Greymon.
a different colour.
Yeah.
But he had I don't know, does Shine Greymon always have the big flary stuff behind him?
I think so.
Okay, in which case, does that mean the burst was literally two swords? Does that mean that this is Sword Art Online? Is that what's happening?
No, it's
that's a big twist in that show.
I haven't seen it.
So the main character knows how to dual wield swords, and that makes him unbeatable.
That's a twist?
Yeah, because in that game you can only hold one weapon.
Wow.
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 Postmon Pat this week. First up, we have a weekly poll. Jay will read the comments and then I'll read the results. This week, the question was, which mode of Belphemon do you prefer?
And we got one from Autumn, who says, Sleep mode is modeled after the Deadly Sin, and neither of the other of the Great Demon Lords are modeled as effectively. Sleep mode's necklace is a Tamagotchi. He's a precious doggo. And Elivorg says, Belphemon's Sleep mode is not any kind of Pokemon from Alola. He's an eviler version of Team Rocket's Meowth Balloon. That's fair. That's true.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but completely 100%. As soon as I read this comment, I was like, well, yep, that's 100%. So the results are, we got 18 votes, 12 votes to sleep mode, and 6 votes to rage mode.
So sleep mode kicked the ever-loving hell out of them then.
Well, sleep mode's very cute, and as I said, rage mode just kind of looks like a Inuyasha villain, right?
I've never seen it. Stop trying to push Inuyasha on the show. I've not seen it.
Maybe we'll watch Inuyasha one day.
Let's not. It's got hundreds of episodes, doesn't it?
I feel like it's only got maybe 100.
That's still very, very
Apparently it does not hold up. Apparently it is bad. I really enjoyed it when I was 13.
I'm not shocked by that in any way.
A 13-year-old will. Or maybe it's really good. Maybe people would just say it's bad or wrong. I don't know.
That seems unlikely.
I've got the first volume in Japanese. I should read that.
What am I looking?
On With the Will, we have a comment from Tsurugi. And Tsurugi says, funny you brought up the weird stuff in the early episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh! In Manga Podcast Episode 6. But something to remember with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that they were adapting a manga which at the time didn't have a tie-in card game. So there's going to have weird moments from time to time. I think they got better at incorporating the card game after adapting the original series. They then say that they're kind of sad that I didn't like Pokemon Sun and Moon, because coming from someone who played the previous games, it overall felt like a good twist on the formula that Pokemon has been using since the beginning. The trials felt like a breath of fresh air, and the story felt engaging. I admit they admit that there are some points that are fair, and some cutscenes do go on a bit, but they feel like comparing it to Cyber Sleuth is unfair. Cyber Sleuth, to their knowledge, is mainly aimed at older Digimon fans, whether it's Sun and Moon, and other Pokemon games have been aimed at general audience. As for the anime, I hear it's gotten better with X and Y and Sun and Moon seasons. So that's fine, you're allowed to like Sun and Moon. I didn't.
And then play it again.
Yeah, and then I got Ultra Sun and Moon, and I should play it. I've almost completed my living decks, and thanks to Sam, I have basically got all the Alola Pokemon, so that's great. So that's super appreciative there.
Yeah, I didn't help at all.
No, okay, you gave me like the Ultra Beast I needed. But no, definitely, it's fine to enjoy things. I didn't, and I wish I did more. I don't know, the cutscene killed me, and the fact that I felt like I didn't have control in most of the game also was not comfortable. Also, question for Jay. If/when you show May Dragon Ball Z, would you be showing May the original version or Dragon Ball Z Kai, which takes away the filler?
So, the problem with this is, if we watch it, we're probably going to watch it for the show, in which case we have to do the original, because that's the one that has the original dub to it, so that we do a comparison about nostalgia and everything, right? That makes perfect sense. But then we have to sit through all the filler and whatever. Then I get to ask her, do you think it's going to be filler or not? We're going to have a whole thing about that.
Yeah, it'd be an Obnoxious, but Jay has to organise it.
But then, like, if I got to choose myself, I'd pick Dragon Ball Z Kai, no question, because filler is boring, and Dragon Ball Z's got a lot. Dragon Ball Z has a lot of people yelling for entire episodes.
Oh yeah, I can expect that.
It's pretty brutal. And we got a Gmail from Ryuichi who says, "We thought that the betrayal wasn't well written, but didn't know that the betrayal was fake. Does Jay's opinion change on the previous episode in retrospect?" I already said that it technically does. It makes Toma's actions after his conversation with Kurata make more sense, but it makes his response to Kurata make literally no sense at all, because she didn't have the bomb necklace on yet. He could have just, and he had a Digimon there, he could have just killed Kurata immediately in the chair and just won. Genocide over. Like, that's it. He would have saved the lives of thousands of people who Belphemon killed later on, and that is, at this point, squarely the responsibility of Toma, who is presumably a bad person.
Why didn't Kurata just put the necklace on everyone? Like, not just Toma, as you suggested, like, literally everyone.
Well, it couldn't be everyone, but Toma would have, assuming that Toma was cooperating to save his sister, then he would presumably have been forced to accept one as well, at least from Kurata's perspective. If Kurata's perspective is, this guy's going to genuinely help me, then he won't mind having this bomb necklace to ensure his loyalty, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he do it? Have your opinion on Kurata. They have opinions on Kurata that sits between May and Jay, but leans towards May. They always hated him, and they agree with my points, but the knee-jerk reaction follows May's line of thought, so
Yay.
he's a decent villain, but could have been done better. He's like the villain from the first Tamers movie. They listened to the VM Tamer episode right before, and the change in Jay's tone is amazing. They hope I enjoy the next manga,
jeez, wow.
And enjoy Savers more soon. That's probably not going to happen. And they told their brother about a discussion between May and Jay, and he said, "I'll have to listen to them. I like Jay." Fantastic. I like being liked. And they remember liking the next couple of episodes in Savers as well. We got from Andrew, who says, "They just listened to our 4th V-Tamer episode wherein we both pondered why Piedmon's Japanese name is Paimon. Well, in the Japanese, it's actually pronounced Piemon, which is derived from Pierrot, which is French for clown." Oh, that makes sense.
Thank you. I always wondered, I always thought it was just a misspelling of Pied, as in the Pied Piper, because that's what the English name is, but I never realized that it was actually had French roots, so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
We got one from Connor, who says, "They started listening in June after finally watching Digimon. They listen to every main series podcast and they watch along with the sub for Tamers onwards. They appreciate the commitment to the show. They're fascinated with what I did with my book." Right, because I would have talked about it. I finished my first draft of it in March of this year, and I finished my second draft probably a month or two later, and it's been literally sitting there the entire time on the second draft, and I kind of know what changes it needs, and I've been struggling to summon the will to just sit down and fix it all.
But you've also been busy with becoming a lawyer.
Oh yeah, it's been lots of stuff, but they're all excuses really, because I did have time. I've been playing video games and stuff. The whole problem has been, I got some professional advice about it, and they said, here are all the small changes you need to make, and here's the one really big change you need to make. And I've been struggling with that big change and not wanting to do anything about it. And I talked to people who have actually read the book, other people who have read the book, the professional had as well, and they said, "No, we love that stuff. Keep that in there. Are you sure that person is your target audience?" And I said, well, they're actually not. So I might leave the big change for now and go to just do the small ones. Problem, I still need to summon the energy to do the small ones, but it's a lot less daunting now that I don't need to reshuffle the entire book.
I'm sure me reading the book will help that.
Well, I would like to hear what your opinion on it was.
And also, let me know whenabouts that big thing is, and I'll let you know.
It's all throughout it. Like there's a thing that there's a one chapter that sort of begins it, and then it's a group of people who keep coming back, and it's important to they're kind of important to the story, and we'll talk about it.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about it offline when I'm reading the book.
So they continue
Chapter
to say
6.
The podcast is important because as one of 7 children with 5 brothers who are very classically masculine and their mother is raised Catholic, they're not very much like them. Anime has always been intriguing, but they resist looking at nerdier things because of the way their family thinks of that stuff. After playing Digimon World Dawn and watching the dub for the adventure, they fell in love. And they felt like it was wrong because of the stigma from their family. Oh, we're getting this big personal thing. This is really nice.
It is so nice.
And midway through watching Tamers, they decided to try the podcast, and they loved it, and they were shocked in the best way. Not just because the content was incredible, funny, insightful, and addictive. Wow, that's a cool way. And neither May nor Jay are what they thought anime lovers were like. Aww. And they decided that next year in college to not hide their hobbies. This is adorable.
I know, right?
This is the cutest thing.
I know. And then Connor sent another one that said, "Oh, sorry, that was so long. You don't have to read it." I'm like, "But I wanna."
Are we? Oh, okay. I might be inferring too much out of this. Did we put a positive change onto someone's life?
Yeah, I think so.
Ah!
We are also very cool people.
So glad I showed up for the show today.
It was so nice.
On Tumblr, we got one from Trickstar Holly Angel. Sorry, I'm glowing. Hold on, give me a moment. Who says, Jay has talked about Sir Barrington on the podcast before. The spooky part is that last time that we talked about it, they were listening to the podcast at the mall, walking past a fountain. They hadn't been to that mall since, and then the next time that they were there, they have episode 130 on, we read their message, and then we talk about Sir Barrington. And when we're done talking about it, they're next to the same fountain again. Which is just to say that the world's cursed, and, confirmation bias definitely doesn't exist. Don't worry about it.
I think you should talk about Sir Barrington in another 10 episodes and see if it happens again.
Oh, fair enough.
Or you could talk about it now.
Just go, Barrington. I always feel that way about, like, words I learned for the first time, and then, like, later that day, I see them used twice in, like, different contexts. I'm like, I've never heard anyone use this word before in my life. It turns out I did, and didn't think about it. One from Ellie Vorg who says, talking like everyone else should have been hating Toma more than they did, because he's apparently gone all genocidal I feel a little extreme, since Toma never actually murders a Digimon. I'm going to be real simple with you right now. Genocide's a big deal. I can't you can't understate how big of a deal genocide is, because it's really disgusting. I don't think there's a point where you can support genocide as like a viable political option.
I know, but I still feel like that Toma needed to get his plan out. Like, he needed to work out what is Kurata doing.
So what? That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about everyone else's response to what he's doing, because he has been very clear with them. I am on Kurata's side because I have shown up independently to fight you, right? So to them, they completely believe that he's evil. Well, that he's on the evil side. The side with all the genocide and stuff.
The genocide?
Yeah, we've actually made that joke before.
Oh no, we're not funny.
So,
oh, no.
When Ellie Vox goes on to say, there's a bit of a difference between I support genocide and actually committing genocide, and I would say that's not really, that is a much thinner line than you're saying here. I don't think that it's like a 10%, 100% thing. Especially because you would implicitly think that Tom is like killing Digimon on the side. Just that's what you would think about him when you see this. But
he doesn't commit genocide though.
No, but he directly supports it and appears to try and kill your Digimon.
Yeah, but he doesn't actually. Like, he makes a point not to.
No, he makes a point. He chooses not to. He doesn't make a point to them. Mate, you have to understand, what I'm talking about is their reaction, and I don't care what's going through his head. I don't care what his intentions are.
I think you're being worked. I think this is exactly how you should feel. Like, Toma betrayed them. Tom was trying to kill them. Tom was on the other side. Like, I feel like that's how you should feel. No, that's
the point. I feel this way. The characters clearly don't, and I'm confused why they're not more. They're all defending Toma against Master. Why are you so angry against this guy? Stop fighting. This is your fault.
I think Masaru had a completely legitimate reaction. I think I went through that the other episode.
But so what's Chika doing?
Oh, she's awful. Like,
that's what I'm talking about.
Masaru has a legitimate it feeling, though?
Yeah, so no, he's doing all right. But that's literally what this message is about.
Right.
That my criticism of a majority of the character's response, whether it's like, he only supports genocide. He's not actually doing it.
I mean,
probably, we don't know.
I do understand that it's, he's not actually doing genocide, and I feel like...
They don't know that. They do not know that.
Okay, you have a point, yeah.
And also, again, support of genocide is really a thin line. It's not okay. Let's not pretend it's like 10% as bad. It's 90% as bad. Masaru getting angry at being betrayed is indeed reasonable of him, but completely losing control of his anger to the point of wanting to flat out murder someone whom 5 minutes ago he considered a close friend is really pretty dark and twisted. It's not twisted! He came out and tried to kill his friend! That's what this whole fight's supposedly about. Regardless of the fact that we know now that Toma wasn't really trying, the view from Masaru's perspective was that that's what was happening. And that he was getting beaten up personally. That really happened. And also the genocide. Like, I can't understate this enough. I don't want to go into my family history here or anything, so we're not going to. But genocide's a big deal. Let's just leave it at that.
No, I understand your perspective.
So, stories where the main character aren't perfect and suffer for their flaws are good. And yes, it was only accidentally his fault, and he didn't know what happened. Being about presumably ruin mode happening. And he didn't know what would happen. But regardless, it is still directly because of his actions that Agumon got seriously hurt. So of course he'd feel guilty about it. I'm not sure. I just don't feel that's the case. Because usually there has to be a flaw that directly causes it. Like, he would get angry and then do something. Or someone is full of hubris and then makes a decision. Masaru was very reasonably angry, and then mystical forces beyond his control worked on those things without any sort of warning from the people who could have warned him, like legitimately, and then Agumon doesn't really get hurt. It's just the process is apparently kind of painful, and then when it turns off, he dies. It's not like he gets damaged or hurts himself. He just screams a lot. I don't think it's presented well. Whatever. I feel like I'm correct, but obviously some people don't think so. And I'm willing to have the point-to-point discussion, and I think answering a letter is not the point for it, and I'm being a bit worked up over it.
I do like hearing other people's opinions on how things are. I'm just very tired and not really participating much in the conversation, so I'm sorry. Besides,
Bancholeomon is the only one who really has a go at Masaru for what he did, which I think is fine, as he was the one who taught them how to reach ultimate level by controlling their emotions. Being in control of your emotions literally equates to strength in this universe, so it follows that he'd be disappointed in Masaru specifically for having lost control. I immediately want to discuss that. Didn't they get to ultimate by making Masaru intentionally, like, bottling up his emotions and having him explode with anger? Wasn't the whole point that he wasn't controlled? Because he felt these really strong emotions when Agumon was being held hostage by the Bio Frontier kids, and he got really angry, literally like the same degree of anger that he feels later on. That's not control. That lesson was never about control, was it? I just don't think it was. Thomas could not simply punch Kurata in the face to solve his problem. For all he knew, Kurata had his sister's detonator in his pocket, but she's not wearing the bomb necklace, is she? When he walks in and sees her?
I don't think so, unless I just missed it completely.
So I think when he first sees her and he sits down and says, "Oh, I can cure sister," I'm pretty sure she doesn't have it, because we would have noticed a weird thing around her neck. I'm sure. I just don't think so. Or he'd given it to one of his goons with orders to press it if anything happened to him. The same goes for assuming that he's being watched. Obviously Kurata wasn't watching Toma all the time, but he could have been watching at any time, and Toma couldn't have been too careful. And I agree, that's fine. I think it's weird in certain circumstances because we have camera angles that wouldn't exist, so you wouldn't see anything slip on Toma's face ever.
Yeah, and we do have that perspective of we are the audience, so we get to see all sides of what's happening.
Yeah, and that's an interesting bit.
However, we weren't given the sides that were relevant, and the show wanted us to believe that Toma had actually betrayed his friends.
Yeah. They say, I agree that it would have been nice to have a short moment in episode 34 showing Toma noticing the necklace. Other than that, I just need to know, did she have it? I want to go onto our Facebook page where you have the dog thing.
I don't think she had it.
You posted the dog picture like really, really recently. Like, yeah,
I reblogged it on my personal because I really liked it.
That was on Tumblr. Crap.
What?
Damn it. That was on Tumblr, wasn't it?
I can see if I have it up. She has a necklace.
Oh,
She has it. See?
Hold on, can you pass that over?
She has the necklace with the little red thing around her neck.
Is that the same one?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Okay. I didn't think it had like a bauble to it. I thought it had
no, it had the bauble, and the bauble went green when it was deactivated.
I thought it had like a little light.
Yeah, no.
No, I didn't think it was a bauble. Whatever. Okay, sure. If that's the case...
Yeah, that's it, because it's really bulky and weird looking.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Okay,
Oh,
we
no,
established that she's had it for a while.
Look, I'll take it back.
Good. That's good.
All we needed to do was establish that it was already there, and I guess that's on me for not looking.
Or maybe Thomas just saying, or maybe Gumma says, "Oh, I like your new necklace," or no, they've never met. Maybe Thomas saying, "I like your new necklace," or something. Just reference the necklace, because I should not need to look back.
I want to skip the rest of that because, like, I'm just going to concede that I was wrong.
Wow. Well, can we have a recording? We have a recording of that.
Recording of that. Come on. No, like, I just didn't realize that she had it.
End of podcast. I'm satisfied. Jay says he was wrong.
Because like then I go, okay, fine. Then Toma gets all depressed because Kurata can be like, well, I'll blow up her neck right now. Fine. All of that stuff may like it's reasonable at that point, assuming that Toma intuits that the bomb is a thing, and sure, he buys time to just deactivate it on his own, which is something he can just do because he has that power. Why not? Solution notwithstanding, that's fine. That sort of all comes together. Boy, does this, like, it requires you to go back, and I don't know. The problem is it's trying to do too many things at once.
I just can't believe she actually had the necklace when we first saw her. Like, well done.
And they find that we missed a change where the dub specifies Relena is going to be made into a biohybrid, which makes the supposed horror of it pretty silly. She's still gonna be human, with superpowers to turn into a big powerful monster and back at will. Who wouldn't want their sister to have that instead of dying? That is very fair.
Yeah. Also, I believe that's the end of Ellie Vorg's letter, right?
It is.
We actually just got a letter just then. We have Smile Wolfie on Twitter, who just finished with listening to our Atmon podcasts and has edited the Friendship Ended With meme to have me and Eri, and it says, "Friendship ended with Mimi. Now Eri is my best friend."
Can I see that?
Yeah.
Wait.
Because I think I said that like 5 times.
A drawing of you. You have said that a bunch.
I'm pretty sure it's because we just watched Try Chapter 5, and I was salty that like it didn't live up to my expectations, and Atmon exceeded my expectations, and Eri is best girl. So yeah. So thank you for that, and good timing managing to catch us on the Postmon Pat portion of the podcast, so I could slot that in.
Alright everybody, join us for the next episode of Yu Yu Hakusho, King Drazzle's Fatale Decision.
Or Human World Terminated, Yggdrasil's Decision.
We finally get to find out what Yggdrasil is! Ah!
Read the next title.
The Royal Knights Assemble.
Or The Strongest Order of Knights, the Royal Knights Gather. I'm so salty that you watched the intro and it shows the Royal Knights, because this would have been a fantastic, like, Black or Greymon 2.0 moment for you.
Why wouldn't that intro be at the beginning of that episode, after you introduce the Royal Knights?
Because animating's hard, and they don't have to do it like...
You don't have to use the old intro!
Okay, I see your point.
Like, why would they do this?
Because I feel like this is meant to be a big reveal that the Royal Knights are in
it. Is! It clearly is!
Because we've never actually really seen the Royal Knights.
Except for those two in Frontier.
Yes, but these are the Royal Knights.
Well, so were they.
No, these are like all of the Royal Knights.
But so were they.
I mean, not all of them, because they've actually added another member.
But it said those are the Royal Knights. Look.
For Weekly Wonders this week, I already know what Jay is going to say. So
because we finally played it!
You finally played it, but I'll say mine. So mine's kind of like, it's a random YouTube video again. So it's something that I rediscovered, and it's actually from an American news channel about an Australian morning breakfast TV show. And it's like, I don't want to spoil the clip because it's really funny, but it's them reacting to a video, because when on news anchors they don't show the videos usually, but before they react to it, so they have like legitimate reactions to things, and the way that they react to it is just so funny, and the way that the Americans react to it is also funny, and I don't know, it's just very funny, so please watch it. It's really hard to explain.
I'll take your word for it.
I'll link it as I always do. And what's yours? Because I guess I know what it's going to be.
I played Kingdom Death Monster finally. I got the box, and I 2 weeks ago or something, and I very quickly put all the models together, and then I was like, and I painted a few of them. Some of them look really nice, some of them are in progress, and we finally sat down, we played it, and that is, so I have a friend, use his words, because it'll probably might have more effect than mine.
Which friend?
Brady.
Okay.
Bread.
Bread.
And
I love Brady. Can we get Brady on the show?
No, it'd be terrible.
Aww, I like Brady.
And he's a huge board game guy. He's a bit like me with the sort of we love them. And we played it once. once, and then the next time we were at a game store hanging out, whatever, he talks to one of the staff there, and we're talking about the game, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's definitely like my top 10 of all time, easily." Like immediately, he's played it once, and it's already his like favorite games ever. And I feel, it's so good. It just has everything. It's got like a tabletop war game where you're beating up this monster, but the monster's so rough and like unfair. So the 4v1 is like how the game works. And then when you finish beating up the monster, it's like Monster Hunter, and you use the bits of it to build weapons and armor and stuff. You have a little settlement town that you try to build together, and you just, these natural storylines emerge, kind of like you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like May's character Dibs just died.
Well, actually my second character, because my first character had to like stay behind because I chose her to be the first one to speak, so she got an upgrade, but it means she has to stay behind on the next hunt.
Yeah, she had to sit around being wise, so she took over this character called Dibs.
Okay, so the character's called Dibs because when Jay said, okay, we need someone to be the first to speak, and I put up my hand and said Dibs.
And so the story there is that literally what happens is this character walks into the town, says the word Dibs because they hadn't invented language yet, so their first word is Dibs, and this person, who this other character, identifies it and like thinks they're being called by name.
Yeah, it just says, that me.
And that's it. So
and then Dibs died.
And then Dibs got trampled to death by an antelope with a giant mouth in its chest. After it tried to eat Lazarus and couldn't.
No, that was on its second. That was on the second hunt, though, because Dibs went through the first hunt.
No, Dibs was on the one that fought the lion and then got killed by the antelope.
Yeah, so Dibs was alive for one hunt, so it didn't die.
Yeah.
Dibs didn't die like straight away. I'm just really, really sad about my.
In that second game, 2 people died on the prologue fight.
That's rough.
That was really rough.
I think it's because Brady like one-hitted the.
You know what's disgusting? I mean, this is not gonna make any sense. But you know when you start the game and you get the Lantern Horde and it says you can build these 3 buildings, May?
Yeah.
And it costs 1 endeavor each.
Yeah.
If 2 people die, then you only have 2 endeavors. You can't build all the starting buildings.
But what if you create but the village gets like 10 people to start with?
Yeah, but only returning survivors get endeavors.
Oh, that's rough. Yeah, no, that's fair.
So yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it's really
that game's
fun.
awesome. It does everything. It's so strong. It's like it's honestly such a well-polished game. I'm going to be painting some stuff. I honestly want to just go do it after the show.
But you can't because it's really
I can do whatever I want.
I mean, you can, I guess, but I'm going to bed.
Okay.
I guess I have to do pre-editing stuff.
It takes 45 minutes, right?
Oh yeah, fair. So link dumps link in the description, and this week's weekly poll is, do you prefer Shine Greymon Burst Mode or just regular Shine Greymon? The link dumps linked in the description, and you can find our screenshot of the week, weekly wonders, and weekly poll also linked in the description and in our link dump. And I realised that my segment guide for some reason now says link dumps linked in the description twice now.
Nice.
So there you go.
Amazing.
Just a reminder, the link dump's linked in the description. Not sure if you know. Our Redbubble is also linked in the description, and you can get more than just shirts there too. You can contact us and stay updated. You can email us at LostinTranslationmon@gmail.com, or you can comment on this episode or messages on SoundCloud. You can follow us on @TranslationMon on Twitter, and you can find us on LostinTranslationmon on Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We have a discussion thread on With the Will, and a Reddit thread in the Digimon subreddit, and we would appreciate if you were to review us on Apple Podcast, Stitcher, or any other podcast listening app that you use. Ratings really assist people finding our podcast. We also have a website where you can vote in our weekly polls, check out our release schedule, and check out our blog posts. You can also donate to our Patreon, which is linked in the description, from as little as $1 a month, and that gets you access to a list of Slack chat group, but there are higher levels with more rewards, such as notes, early episodes, and more.
And thank you to our current Patreon supporters, Sam Krieger, who has a podcast called The Moncast with Stevie, who is also Stevie Padman on Tumblr, is currently taking commissions. Wuchinglong, who you can find at twitch.tv/Wuchinglong. Metalmamon, Joe, Anime Guy, who is Anime Guy Kurosaki and the #1 on YouTube. Chuckmon, Hiro Lado, who is Hiro Lado on Twitter. Jason Morosky, Ryuchi, who is Frost Moradic on Archive of Our Own. Stephen Reeves, who is at WildWing64 on Twitter. Kaidawashi, Mac, Noam, Riku, Chisai, who you can follow at Chisai236 on Tumblr. Kyle, The Lady Bugman, whose anime blog you can find at baguburagu.wordpress.com. Small Wolfie, who is on Tapastic as Small Wolfie and has a comic there called Eden the Melancholy, Glitch Goat, Azra McCool, Gene Hackmon, Matthew, Anthony, who's at AntoClassic on Twitter, Lizmet, who's Lekmon on Tumblr, Sithobi, Ellie Vorg, who's Ellie Vorg on Tumblr, Sporky McForkenspoon, who has a Digimon podcast called Going Digital, Megan, Kyliak, Neobu, Jams, The Time Optimist, Silverhead Freak 25, Harvey, and Alex.
You can also make one donation on PayPal, which is found in the description. It is paypal.me/Edgemon. Make sure to let us know the podcast. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.